Swider Man. He's getting all the attention now.
Ooh, I like that. Swider Man. That might be Cole's new nickname.
Swider basket and a foul.
Eddie Casey. Swider. Answer back.
Swider from deep. Laces the three. Swider. And one. Count the bucket.
Welcome back to the Swider Show, everyone. I appreciate Patty and Adam for holding down the fort last week. You guys did a hell of a job with Drew Carter. If you guys haven't listened to that interview, go back and listen to that interview. They did a great job. And, I mean, my first reaction to that interview, guys, was how good of a voice Drew Carter has.
Yeah, he's
an unbelievable voice.
The Celtics are in great hands because, like he said, he wants to be their announcer basically for the next 40 years. And that just means for the next 40 years they have, like, a phenomenal announcer voice in their ears for 82 times a night, so or a year. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You know, he has a great voice and was obviously repping the Syracuse Orange, which I always appreciate. There's nothing better than just like the Syracuse Mafia that we have in the media industry, and obviously he's doing a great job with the Celtics. But Patty, episode 56 now. It's been a little while since we checked in. I mean, how you doing? I know I ask you this every single time we come on, but I'm genuinely curious.
You're curious? Yeah, I know we have check-ins off the show, but I'm doing great, man. New York City is great. I know I missed you when you were here, but we'll make up for that. But I don't know. I'm doing great. I don't think the listeners care too much. I think we should maybe check in with you because there has been big things happening on the Swider front, both in South Dakota and in Miami, Florida. So I don't know. Where do you want to start? You want to start with the G League games because there's been two since we last spoke behind the mics. Both went very well. I can read your stats right now. I can wait for you to answer and then read them. I don't know. Take it wherever you want to go.
No need to read the stats off of the games, man. But yeah, no. Sioux Falls has been a great experience for me. Like I've said before, because Coach Kasib, the head coach of Sioux Falls, done a great job of just letting me go out there and play. I think I'm getting better every single game I go out there. So it's been good, man. Obviously, I've been able to shoot the ball. Like, didn't shoot the ball as well as I wanted to this past trip, but before that, I shot at a really high level. Was able to get a win in the second game, played against Jay Huff, former teammate Jay Huff. Played against they had a lot of their guys down. Both teams had a lot of their guys down. So it's been a good run being able to play against those guys. It doesn't feel like G League action, if that makes sense. Like the Mad Ants had Jarris Walker, who was the 8th pick in the draft, down. They had Kendall Brown. They had all three two-ways. They had Ben, what's his name, from Belmont, who played a really good game against us. So it's been great, man, going down and playing against that level of competition while obviously not playing in the NBA games. So Grand Rapids was a great test. Hunter Tyson was down. Jalen Pickett was down. Huff was down.
Booty ball, Jalen Pickett.
Yep. So it's been a great experience down there, and I was able to get at least one win while I was down there.
The Mad Ants, like you're saying, they had everyone down. I think part of the reason is they have the best NBA team of all time currently, so they don't have enough room on the roster to have their two ways up and whatnot. But I will read your stats as you are being humble.
Okay.
The Swider Show listeners might have known, but just as a reminder, we're at 25 points a game. I say we because we contribute to these stats. 25 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. We got 47, 42, 92 splits. So my first takeaway there is you're not yet at 50, 40, 90. Is that something that you're shooting for? Are you thinking of that going into each game?
It's not something I'm thinking about before every game, but that's something I want to accomplish in my career. There's not a lot of people who do a little 50, 40, 90 action. So I'm close. Last year, I could have had it. Last year, but the free throws were lacking out of everything with South Bend.
And we definitely have said that on the pod. But in the G League, if you get fouled, you just shoot one free throw.
One free throw, yeah, and it's tough. I mean, this year I think I'm 11 for 12. Adam, you can check that for me. But I think I'm 11 for 12 in the G League this year, and the one free throw I missed was on a technical foul shot. So my free throw points is just -1, if that makes sense. So I could be shooting like 97% if I make all those free throws.
You are 11 for 12. I just verified that.
Yeah.
1 for 2 against
Wisconsin hurt
Oh,
in
yeah.
the second game.
Yeah, the Wisconsin curd. You had 34 in that game. That's all right.
Yeah.
But this is also something we might have explained. But for people at home, for the listeners, can you explain the schedule the last couple of weeks? Because you've been up, you've been down. What is that process like? Like, I know you kind of get a general gist of when you're going to be up and down, but then as the roster changes, as there's injuries with the Heat, it seems like there can be some fluidity to it. So are you just kind of taking it on the fly?
Yeah, there's a lot of fluidity with it. I remember I sent you guys the schedule. I think I've sent you schedule from both months, Patty. I know I sent Adam the schedule from this month. Like, and they've been totally different both times. And I think that comes with the G League team being in South Dakota. When South Bay were in the same facility, it wasn't that crazy. Obviously, you could just leave for a 7-day road trip or an 8-day road trip out of nowhere. But for the most part, it was pretty planned out, and it wasn't that big of a deal to get called up. Now, if you're in South Dakota and you get called up for a Heat home game, that's a big difference. So
yeah, you're flying across the country.
Yeah, so that's why I think I've been with the Heat most of the year, and obviously, I've really only spent 7 days with Sioux Falls and played in 5 games out of those 7 days. So it's been a good experience just to go down there, play some games, and obviously be here with the Heat and keep on learning from Spo, keep on learning from all these different guys, and it's been a great experience so far.
In the games that you've been with the Heat, you guys big win last night against the Hornets. Future friend of the show, Duncan Robinson, still lit it up. But I think in following, Heat Twitter, the fan base, getting a pulse for what they're talking about right now, I think a huge storyline is Jaime Jaquez and him being probably a top 3 rookie to this point. I know Redick had that clip where he was saying the third best rookie. If he's not third, like you could argue him or Arso Thompson, whatever, but he's definitely up there. He's been one of the better rookies in the entire league.
Definitely.
I think a lot of people could have seen that coming, given that he was a perfect fit for like Heat culture and what everyone talks about. But what do you think is from the being behind closed doors? What has been the main factor for his success?
I say this all the time. I think Jaime has one of the best basketball senses I've ever seen in my life. Every single cut, he gets like a wide open layup. Every single offensive rebound just kind of falls into his hands. He's always in the right spot. He's always getting his hands on balls, getting deflections. Just very active on both sides of the floor. It's so funny. Like me and Nikola Jovic are always laughing on the sideline because he'll just get a wide open layup and just out of nowhere. You know what I mean? We joked about it when Jordan Miller, obviously a great player at Miami, but we were always this guy gets 18 points off of just layups. You know what I mean?
It's just randomly all of a sudden, Miller's just laying the ball in with no one within 10 feet of him. And you watch a full basketball game and no one else, that doesn't happen to anyone else. But at some point, it's not coincidence. It's actually a skill.
Oh, it's 100% a skill, and it's an incredible basketball sense. And for example, I remember in one of the games, Jay Rich went up for a dunk. He missed it. Jaime's just right there. Just boom. You know what I mean? It's just crazy the sense that he has. And obviously there's an IQ that goes along with it. And he plays every game very hard and it's his last. And I think he has a great mindset of nothing is too serious in his mind. So he's able to get on to the next play and just be very, very present. And I think that's a skill that he may not even know that he has, but I recognize it in a very it's very clear to me that of how present he is in the moment, if that makes sense.
Being a 4-year college guy, do you think that contributes a lot to his success at this point? Because we actually haven't mentioned it at this point, but we did have in a few minutes you will hear from the best point guard in the nation. It is Tyler Kolek. He made his return, but even off camera, I think he mentioned Jaquez having success, and he's that might be a benefit for me. Guys look at him and they're I played in a bunch of big games. Jaquez at UCLA was in the same type of role. He's there for 4 years. You're kind of more seasoned. Do you think that went into the evaluation of why he wanted him, and ultimately why you're saying he has such a good basketball sense?
No, I do, and I think that he showed everything that he's doing now. He showed in college, and one thing don't let me forget. He has unbelievable footwork. And you can tell that he puts a lot of time into his craft when it comes into his footwork. And some of that is his sense of being able to get around people and read people's weight like seeing people how they're on the front of their toes or little imbalances in the way that they guard them. But a lot of it has to do with just his like the work that he puts into it. So, but I'll go back to your question. Spo used to say all the time when describing Jaime in press conferences, talking to the team, that he thinks that playing in the NCAA tournament, making those deep runs, like playing those meaningful games matters. Like that's like the NBA playoffs. That's like the game sevens. That's the
right.
So for him, that translated. And one thing that I loved about the Miami pick of Jaime is that if Jaime was available as a sophomore coming out, they probably would have signed him as a two-way, right? And they would have developed him into the player that he is now. Like they didn't go for the pick that was the young guy who's going to take a year to develop. They picked a guy who was ready now, and a guy they would have picked up as a two-way 2 years ago or a year ago if he was on the market in that sense. So I think he's just a great fit. He obviously plays really well with our stars, and you can kind of plug and play him anywhere on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he can literally play in any lineup and do. He just figures it out no matter what like he needs to do. He just kind of figures out how to be effective and valuable and just does that exact thing for that game.
And I even think like he only played in one preseason game, but even in the one preseason game, he was the best player on the court for like the end of the Charlotte game. And like he played that role really, really well. And then now he's played every single role that you could possibly think of really, really well in the season so far.
Yeah. You just got to be like the best to play with. I've never played with him personally, but I'm sure you could speak to that moving forward. But the other biggest thing in the basketball world that we haven't talked about with you is the in-season tournament. I know you explained the format once upon a time on the show, but since then I feel like it really blew up. The quarterfinal, the semifinal, the final, like just a smashing success. I feel like it's very rare that NBA fans and like everyone who's kind of like paying attention to this stuff night to night and really, really cares agrees on something. And it seemed like the sense was for the most part, like this rules. Like I want this to be a thing every single year.
Yeah, it was a success. I think Adam Silver and the NBA rules committee and everyone did a great job of creating this tournament. I think it's one that's going to just continue to grow over time. And I think just like seeing like how many of these guys took it serious, and you couldn't write it any better than LeBron winning it. And
right.
I think that had a big reason of why it was so successful, and the viewing was what it was.
Is it a little bittersweet seeing the Lakers win?
No, it's not. It's not bittersweet.
Flat, no.
No. It's they obviously did a good job. They won.
Yeah. It doesn't affect you at all. Yeah.
Would I have liked the $500K? Yeah, I would have loved that. But it's yeah, they did a good job.
I mean, the situation now is better. The other big thing is Halliburton. Where are you ranking Halliburton now? I saw a lot of discourse around that, but the other thing about the in-season tournament is usually you have to wait for a playoff moment for someone to really like even I compare it to like SGA last year. He completely broke out. And he had like a similar arc to Halliburton is now. But since he didn't really have the playoff moment, I feel like he wasn't leading SportsCenter. They weren't talking about him at First Take. But the in-season tournament gave Halliburton this moment in late November, like / early December, where it's like, is Halliburton a top 8 guy now? Like, would you take him over anyone else for the next 6 years? So, I don't know. It's pretty neat how that happened. But my question to you is, where are you ranking Halliburton at this point?
I mean, he's got to be a top 4 point guard, 3 point guard.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're comparing him and De'Aaron Fox, and I would put them in a pretty similar category of like 3-4.
Right.
Probably go Steph, Shea, and then like I don't know. Who would you rather have, Shea or Tyrese Halliburton?
I think that's the toughest question right now. I texted that to you and Jimmy, but for the next like 5 years, would you rather have SGA or Halliburton? It's literally like a dead heat.
Yeah, I don't know. I like both rosters that surround them too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's one thing to be like very talented players, but it's the other thing to have like very complementary pieces around you. And I think Indiana, like there was a lot of talk about them trading Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, but I think those two guys complement Tyrese better than anyone. And Bruce compliments him really well. And I saw Bruce before the game that we played against him. I was like, bro, like it must be so fun to play with Tyrese. Like, yeah, bro, he just throws that thing around and everyone gets involved. And we score 140 points and it's really fun.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So
they're averaging 128 points a game.
It's crazy. They're first in off. Well, when we played them, they're first in offense and 30th in defense.
Yeah, I think they're like close still, but it works. His stats, speaking of nerding out on stats, he's averaging 26 and 12 and 2 turnovers, 52, 45, 88. That's never happened, I don't think. You could fact check me there, but
crazy. Like, the scouting report for Tyrese Halliburton is like you got to shoot him like Steph almost, like how he shoots the basketball.
It's crazy.
Wow.
I mean, it's all just because of how his shot looks. But if he just shot the ball like with a normal looking form, I think he would even be more like highly regarded.
They rate him like a top 3 shooter in the NBA if his shot looked good.
Yeah.
So
it's wild.
Yeah, man.
It
Obviously,
is wild.
I think, like I said, I think it was a great success, and hopefully we can bring it home next year and we can celebrate with a
100%.
cash prize.
Yeah. But last thing, then we can kick it to Kolek. The Cuse. Big time W. Always great beating Georgetown, but I loved I don't know, I feel like it might be dramatic to say this. A little bit like a corner turned in that second half, I feel like. They were getting not arrogant, but they were like, I don't know, kind of running up a little bit. I love to see that. If they looked very confident in the second half, and it seemed like a team that was like young and they're hitting a point in the season now. It's like, all right, we're a third of the way in. We've taken some tough L's. We lost at Virginia, but it's like either like a make or break moment, and they just beat the shit out of them in the second half. It was the best.
It was great. It was great to see Red win in that game, and it felt like towards the end of the game, like it was getting a little bit heated on both sides, like a normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Little Syracuse.
It was like old school rivalry type of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool because even Ed Cooley after the game was like a little pissed off about it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's always great as well. 2 new coaches at the helm, and I think it's gonna be a great series for years to come. So I'm excited. I think this is how do I say this without like this is the worst both programs will probably be in the next 10 years. So to see that and then see like the trajectory of both programs and
right. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And how Red's recruiting, how Ed Cooley's recruiting, and Orange Nation just showing up at the Capital One.
Always.
Just showing up and cheering us on to a victory was obviously cool to see too.
I also like the 11 a.m. Eastern start on a Saturday morning. Shout out to the schedule makers. I know, Adam, it's tough for you on the West Coast, but it was just great. Like, all right, now it's 1:30 on Saturday, and I'm in a great mood because Syracuse won, like, already. You know what I mean? It's just a great start to your day.
And then how'd you feel about 11:30 on Sunday?
What do you mean?
You don't know what I mean? 11:30 p.m. on Sunday?
Oh, when the Eagles had lost?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the worst part. 11 p.m. on Sunday for any normal person working a normal job is easily the worst minute of the week. Like, when Sunday Night Football ends, it's the absolute worst thing in the world. When the Eagles get absolutely blown out in the Sunday Night Football game, it was real dark. But we made it through. We don't need to talk about that. This is a basketball podcast.
Oh, yeah, my fault. Hey, but one more thing before we take it over to Ty. Shout out Tommy DeVito. We were at Syracuse with him.
Yeah.
Didn't have a close relationship with him, but obviously good work, man. You're killing it. Obviously, you didn't get the love that you deserved at Syracuse, but you had a great year at Illinois, and now you're killing it with the Giants, man. So keep going. It's great to see your story. You probably won't hear this, but just know
it's honestly awesome.
Show.
He's the biggest story in New York sports right now. Like, he's completely turned around the city. Yeah, but
yeah, unbelievable, man. He's doing his thing, man. It just shows you the trajectory that sports is the best. Like,
It really is. Not to get cheesy, it's the best thing ever. It's the only thing that like a story like this could happen in.
unbelievable, man.
Mainly because he's playing football, so you need the sport in order for the story to happen. But that's besides the point.
Hey, Patty, but before we go, I've gotten a lot of text calls, just people reaching out to me about the whole entire confusion of jet lag.
I had no idea what you were going to say. I got real nervous.
Do you have any response to the haters? And
First of all, I think that's not true. I think maybe two people reached out to you. I've had people in my life that I've asked about. Who reached out to you?
I have former coaches. I got grandparents.
Former coaches, really? Name the coaches.
I got Hart. I got Simeone.
Okay, we got two.
Yeah, that's former coaches.
Yeah, exactly. All right, there we go. So two people reached out. That makes sense.
And then I have family members. I have my grandparents. I got my dad reaching out to me.
Well, your dad was there when it happened. Essentially, we talked to him right afterwards. Listen, I will take it on the chin. Was it as dumb as you're saying? I don't believe so, but I was wrong. I had a misinterpretation of what it meant. I've also had people in my life. I could start naming people in my life that were like, yeah, I guess that's kind of dumb, but I kind of thought the same thing as well.
Get out.
The biggest thing is, yes, I did. I 100% did.
Not, bro.
You're acting like this is the dumbest thing I've ever said on the podcast. I don't even think it's top 10.
Well, what does that say about you then? If that's not
exactly, that's what I'm saying. You guys are picking the wrong thing to like really hone in on as a dumb thing. If you go back in the records, there's definitely worse things that I've said.
I can't help what people are DMing. I'm sorry.
I have access to the DMs too. Not one person has DM'd about it.
You would have Sheridan saying that was dumb.
No, that's not true. Also, Sheridan's probably the smartest person on the podcast.
No, I'm giving that to Lewis 10 days out of 10.
I'll take it.
All right, well,
you're behind.
I don't have any strands that I'm holding on to. I'm saying I was wrong. I don't know what else you guys want me to say.
Oh, that's fine. Well, with that, let's kick it over to Tyler Kolek.
Yeah, is it fine?
Hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Tyler was great again. And appreciate you guys listening. We're going to kick it over to Tyler now, and then you guys will hear Patty's beautiful voice in the outro at the end. So appreciate you guys listening, and tune back into next week's episode of The Swider Show. Welcome back to The Swider Show, everyone. We didn't play around this week. We got our best guest of all time. If we're talking about numbers, we're talking about conversation. Tyler Kolek is back on the podcast. Welcome back, Tyler.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Man, we're happy to have you, man. Obviously, as you guys know from the last time Tyler was on the podcast, we go way back. And we were just talking about 5th and 3rd grade layup lines before the podcast started. So it gives you a little backstory on how far we go back. I mean, first and foremost, Tyler, how you feeling, man? Obviously, this season is for you guys. It's been a little different this year. You guys have had a tough preseason schedule, getting ready for Big East play. How would you say it's gone so far?
Yeah, I feel like it's been good. You know, we've had some success, but we've also had some rough spots, as any great team goes through. And I feel like one more non-conference game, and then kind of a little reset. Then we get to go into Big East play. First Big East game back home at Providence, actually next Tuesday. So that'll be fun. But I think we've done a great job of just continuing to grow and get to where we want to get to, because we're never going to be a finished product, and we want to just keep pushing every day in practice.
It seems like this year you guys had like just a target on your back from the beginning. Obviously, you guys return almost everyone. You guys lose a first-round pick, but you guys kind of picked up right where you left off. What was that mindset going into the season? Because as you've seen teams in the past, like UCLA a couple of years ago, they were top 5 preseason, kind of like you guys were, and then they didn't have that same success earlier. What was Shaka just on your ass even more than ever, or was it just like, I got this, coach, so let me just get this for you?
No, it's a lot of conversations, and with our team, we like to put things out there. Like, obviously it was the elephant in the room. We're going to be ranked top 5 in the country. Everybody's going to be wanting to come at us. And, I think Coach Smart did a great job putting that out there and getting those conversations happening within the players, not just, him talking at us about it, but, how we actually feel about the situation. And, coming into the year, I felt like, we did have a target on our back, but last year we played best when we were the ones attacking. We were the ones, kind of the underdogs. And so we wanted to keep that same mentality, and I feel like we've done a good job of it because we have played some real tough teams in the non-conference. So,
Have you do you feel like that mindset was like most advantageous going into Maui? Because that tournament got like so much press. It was probably the biggest best Maui field of all time, and you guys kind of went in, played Kansas like we're talking about. It sounds like it was a perfect scenario for you guys because you're ranked number 4, but it's like, all right, we got the number 1 team in the country. Like, people are going to think we're going to lose, and you just absolutely smacked them. So do you feel like having that mindset that early on in the season and going into a tournament like that, like you come out of it and you're like, okay, we are ranked number 5, but there's still going to be these games where you could kind of like tap into that underdog mentality?
yeah, for sure. So we played Kansas. It was 3 games in 3 days. We played UCLA, who was supposed to, not be great this year, but they're actually I think they're going to end up being an NCAA tournament team. I think they're going to end up being pretty good.
No,
They gave us a good game. We were down by probably 15 points. Ended up coming back winning. Then next game played Kansas, beat them pretty good, and then next game played Purdue. So it was Kansas was number 1, Purdue was number 2. So we knew, we internally talked about, we win this game, we're going to be number 1 in the country. And I actually said to one of the Purdue guys in the game. So we played them last year too, at Purdue, and I think it was the Gavitt games, and we were both unranked at that time. Later we go on, they were number 1 in the country for pretty much half the year, and we ended up finishing like 6th. And it was kind of a full circle moment for everybody because they had a lot of young guys. We had a lot of underclassmen, now upperclassmen, but for a full circle moment from that game when nobody really knew anybody on either roster to then the Maui championship game on ESPN with Jay Billis on the call and all eyes on you. So it was a pretty cool moment. But keeping that mindset is something. Even if we're playing, we want that against Purdue, but we also want that mindset against our next opponent, St. Thomas, who just came up from Division III. They're now Division I the past year or two. But if we take them lightly, they can beat us. That's how college basketball goes. It's funny the variability in it.
Do you individually go into these matchups like you're facing Hunter Dickinson, you're facing Edey, and there's so much like fanfare about that individually? Do you put stock into that like yourself, or are you just trying to like treat it as any other game? And then when you're trying to treat it like another game, does it become like tough to do that because you guys are just like odds on first team's All-American, like you're basically competing for like a National Player of the Year trophy in a lot of people's eyes?
Yeah, I feel like it's not that personal with the big guys just because they are what they are. I'm not going to be guarding them. I'm not, they're not really guarding me. It's not like, Tyler Kolek dominated Zach Edey today. No, it was, he dominated his matchup. I dominated my matchup. So it's not, it's not really so much that back and forth. But even going into some of the games with the good, Texas has real good guards. But I'm just trying to make that game about everybody else. And I was actually, so Cole knows this guy, Russ. He's actually our mental skills guy. He also works with the Heat. And something I've talked to him about is just becoming completely selfless in the game, like giving back to everybody else, and then the game will completely give back to you. So going into these games, I try and have the mindset, we played Wisconsin, and in my mind, I was, I'm shooting 50%. Am I going to continue to shoot 50%? All these things going on in my mind. It's like, no, let's just be free, be clear, focus on everybody else, and then things will happen for you, But if you're focused just on yourself, trying to, I got to do this and that for future things, and the game's not going to treat you the right way.
Kyle, it's funny you say that because obviously that's a very complex answer, very well said. But the way you play out there is just like a fuck it attitude, right? And obviously there's a lot of things that go into that, being able to have that attitude. What's the balance for you? Because I know the answer for me. What's the balance for you of having that complex answers in your head while also playing with that fuck it attitude and I'm going after you? Yeah,
that's something that I think, I kind of acquired. It's not like, it was in me from a young age. I feel like, I played like that. I was really confident from a young age. And then coming into college, I've never really faced adversity before. And, I had success my first year at George Mason, and then my second year it didn't go the way that I wanted to. And so, then the thoughts creep in, and it's the first time I hit adversity, and I had to work to get back to where I'm at now, to have that mindset, like I'm good no matter what happens in this game. I know who I am. I'm secure in who I am. I'm good no matter what. And it takes a lot of time to get back to that point. I'm sure maybe when you were at Villanova, you went through a little bit of that, and it's
100%.
tough. It's adversity. As the first time a lot of basketball players hit adversity is college. And it's like it's a make or break moment. You either push through it or you let that adversity consume you, and it kind of dissipates your career.
100%, man. And I think a big part of that, your ability to bounce back from that, has been your relationship with Shaka, man. I just seeing you guys out there on the court. They always say the point guard is an extension of a head coach out on the court. I don't think anyone embodies that more than you two. What is that relationship like? What has that relationship grown to? Obviously, it's well documented. You guys have a great relationship. You're on the podium after the Texas game, and you guys took that personally as well as a team, even though Shaka said he didn't take it personally. What does that relationship morph into? And can you just speak on a little bit how much Shaka means to you?
Yeah, in our program, one of our core values is relationships. So, and Shaka has all this stuff that he talks about, but he lives every single thing that he preaches. So, he talks about relationship with his players. We talk about relationship growth and victory. So, one of our goals this year is to grow as much as anybody in the country. And, and then obviously we value victory, we want to win. So he's about all those things all the time. And our relationship has only grown over the years as, he's kind of gained more trust in me. And, I've given him he's kind of given me the keys, but I've let him do that, by the way, one, I performed on the floor, but also the way that I am in practice, the way that I am in the film sessions, the way I am when nobody's even around to the rest of the guys. It's just, all those little things that he trusts me with, I feel like has really grown our relationship. A lot of coaches like to micromanage their team, and they need to know every single thing that's going on. And I think he does a good job balancing just letting us handle things. And then, when he really needs to handle things, he does a great job of it.
So the games that I've watched, it seems like this year there's been more opportunity for you to be off the ball, whether it's like Jones taking the ball up, and I don't know, you're talking about being selfish, and you're talking about Coach Smart's sort of like mindset towards this season. Was that something you guys identified and felt like you would implement more, either to like conserve energy or have you more as a scorer, or do you just feel like the roster this year is kind of built that way that you could play off the ball and still be super effective?
Yeah, I mean, I like playing on the ball. I like playing off the ball. It's kind of just giving people different looks. If I'm bringing it up the floor every single time, just coming off the same ball screen, there's not much variability in that. Teams can kind of game plan for that. So moving me around a little bit, coming off DHOs from the corner, or, just playing as a spot up shooter, I think it's really opened up a lot in our offense. Just, and
sure.
The growth of the rest of the guys on the team being able to, coach having the trust in them to handle the ball and make plays and make decisions has been a big part of it too. Because maybe in the past he wants the ball in my hands every possession, but now it's let's spread it around, let's get other guys involved, because that basketball is energy. If I have the ball the whole time, then those guys aren't going to want to play defense. Like maybe I'm getting them open shots and stuff like. But if the ball's popping around, everybody's touching, everybody's feeling good, they're going to feel good on the other end too. So just getting more guys involved, getting more guys feeling good about themselves.
I think that's such a high level of basketball IQ, knowing that you can get everyone involved by you passing the ball, but Cam worked on his game over the summer. David worked on his game over the summer. Oso obviously does things at a really high level. Like, you understand that these guys want to showcase what they can do and what they worked on over the summer. So even though you could get these guys shots every single time on the floor, Cam, you bring it up. You get a shot. You get us into offense. And one thing I will say about your guys' offense, I usually, playing in the G League and NBA, the offenses are so much more complex, right? And a lot of college basketball offenses feels like we're back in like 1980, two bigs in the block. Marquette, I love watching you guys play because you guys play a pro-style offense. And I don't know if that's Nevada. I don't know if that's Shaka just adapting. But I think that allows for a lot more of your guys to get involved. Can you speak on that a little bit? Like, obviously, you've been in a system with George Mason where you got to shoot threes, you got to come off in staggers, but it probably wasn't like this ball screen centric offense, the player movement that you guys have. Can you talk to that?
Yeah, George Mason, it was a lot of two big sets. They called it like Oklahoma old school motion offense. Like that guy 45 cuts to the basket, swing it. All right, the come off the screen doesn't work, swing it back to the middle, just playing back and forth ball screens, not really enough spacing. But you mentioned Nevada Smith. He came from the G League. He was with actually the Skyforce. He was the head coach of that team. So he implemented a lot of stuff, and Coach Smart does a great job adapting. And honestly, it goes to the personnel that we have. In that you're not throwing the ball out to Zach Edey at the 3-point line, having him make reads and plays. But we can do that with Oso. He can really handle the ball and really make plays for other guys. And even he gets it off the board and he's pushing it, and then that just flattens out the floor so much more because we're spaced and gives him a lot of space. But the different ways that we get into different things is because of the personnel we have. And I actually said this. Yeah. People like you like watching college basketball. I say I hate watching it because I'd rather watch the NBA because at all times there's 2 non-players on the floor at all times in college. They're in there for defense, they're in there for other things. Like on the offensive end, there's 2 or 3 guys that just can't really do much, and it's not really fun basketball to watch. Like you were saying, the Big Ten's a lot of that. Like, all right, we got these huge guys, let's run offense for 25 seconds, and then take a bad shot or throw it into the block, and it's just I don't know. I love watching the NBA style, not so much like the ISO ball, but just the freedom of movement, the spacing, and a lot of people don't really understand the spacing, and that's a big thing at the next level.
Well, when I watch you guys run a lot of NBA, like you guys run the pistol action. Do you guys call it pistol, or you guys call it?
Now we call it so we call it highway.
Yeah. So highway action is basically clearing out one side with the ball handler. Let's say Tyler's on the block, he flashes up, Cam hits him from the block, and that side with 3 guys on the other side. You guys run a lot of delay with Oso that speaks to his passing ability. So I just love watching you guys play just because of that. And I think, not getting ahead of ourselves here, but I think the NBA scouts seeing you be able to be in that system, being that understanding the NBA offense, it just is way more benefit to everyone on your team. If that's you, if that's Oso, if that's Cam, if that's any of your underclassmen, I think it's a big benefit for you guys.
And we've had an NBA guy Justin Lewis gets these Bulls now. Omax goes in the first round, so that our style is attractive to a lot of teams because Coach Smart, he gets his guys to play so hard, and they know that they're great culture guys, great team guys that really care about not just themselves.
So I had a question for you as you watch Tyler Killett as your friend. Are you kind of pissed off you never played with him? Because I feel like he would have been a perfect college teammate for you. Because
the thing is, the Tyler that I knew back in the day, I am pissed.
He was like a 2-guard, right?
Yeah, he was a 2-guard. Yeah. I am pissed I didn't play with him because he couldn't have came to St. Andrews for reasons. You know what I mean? St. George's was able to take care of him and his family. But if he would have came to St. Andrews and played with Brandon and I think he would have turned into that passer earlier. But the Tyler that everyone knew growing up was the 2,500 points high school scorer, the guy who's going to get 40, the guy who's going to go off for 7, 8 threes and tell Coach Hart how many points he's giving him on the sideline. Coach Hart's my high school coach for anyone who doesn't know. But I think more than anything, Tyler has the killer mindset, but the basketball IQ to be able to adapt in anywhere he's been in. And I think he's proven that from obviously going to George Mason, being in that shooting role, and then going to Marquette and turning into a pass-first point guard his first year, not having the greatest shooting year, but being effective in every single game that he plays in. So I don't know, man. I just think Tyler's gotten so much better every single year, and now he's no offense, Tyler, you weren't the greatest defender before. Now you're guarding the second or third best player on every single team. You're taking that challenge. You're picking up full. You're not taking plays off, and I think that you've been able to see the attention he's getting from the NBA scouts based off of the improvements that he's made every single offseason.
I could always guard you, though.
Shoot.
We would play. We would play, and I'd always make these tough shots during COVID. We played probably 2-3 times a week. We were probably the only ones working out in the whole state. We got in this little gym. I think we talked about it last time, but it just those moments is kind of what shaped us and what built our friendship even more. So I'm really appreciative for those.
it was funny because like we would both make crazy shots on each other, just going back and forth. And we would play 2s and 3s to 21 in this little gym that's not even a gym anymore. It was called Riverbend. Half moon backboards. It's racquetball court, Tyler. Racquetball court.
Yeah, it was.
So it's just so awesome to see where both of us are now. But obviously seeing Tyler getting back to those scoring ways, well, and basically just controlling the game in every facet of the game, going back to Riverbend. But yeah, man. Obviously, you guys got the Big East schedule coming up. During non-conference, I was always a big like during non-conference, like paying attention to like what teams I'm going to be playing against in the Big East. Yeah. Do you pay a lot of attention to the UConns, the Creightons, the Villanovas, the Providences during non-conference? Or you kind of just wait until the conference season starts to start locking in?
Yeah, paying attention probably isn't the right word. I would say, checking in, like, checking the scores or checking how much this person had or checking, just little things like that. I'm not so much watching the games or caring who they're playing or not. It's just like I saw Villanova had lost, they lost to somebody and then they lost to Drexel. I was like, damn, they lost a couple in a row. So it's just little things like that I noticed. But I've watched maybe 20 minutes of Big East basketball a year. It's just tough because like we play on normally the nights that they play too, but then when we're not playing at night, I'm either taking a nap or I'm back in the gym. So I don't really have time to watch much.
We might be headline hunting here, Swider. Best college basketball point guard hates college basketball.
like the Brandon Miller comment. Who do you not know? Chris Middleton?
Oh yeah, he had no idea who he was.
That was ridiculous. That is ridiculous. But what is your not to get off topic here, but what is your schedule like on a week-to-week basis in terms of, obviously you probably have class, but not excluding class. What's your workout schedule like? Because obviously that's a big adjustment for a lot of guys once they get to this level in the NBA.
Yeah. I feel like this year I was actually talking about the other day. I've handled a lot of stuff outside of basketball way better to give me, more time and more freedom to do what I want on the floor and then, in those workouts. But so normally we practice around 1 or 2 o'clock. So an hour before that, I'll get in the gym. I'll do an individual workout with a GA and a manager. And then we got practice for however long till 4, 5, 6 o'clock. I'll get some treatment after that, get some dinner, and I'll normally lay down, put on some TV, and then I'm back in the gym probably 8:30, 9 o'clock for another. I don't really go. So that's another thing. When I was younger, maybe I'd go back in the gym for an hour and a half at night, or I'd work out before practice for an hour and a half. Like, and it's like as I've learned, it's like the shorter the better, honestly, because you get in there, you know exactly what you want to work on. You go hard, you're sharp with it, and you get out. It's not you don't have to make 1,000 shots. It's I'm not at that point where I need to go in there and shoot 1,000 shots. Now let's what do I want to work on today? Do I want to just do finishing? Do I want to do some off the dribble shots, just some catch and shoots, maybe some movement shots? So really kind of making a schedule and then picking the little things that I want to do, I feel like has really helped me.
Getting to be best friends with the GAs and managers is the best thing you can do in college basketball. Patty and I used to work
walk-ons too. The walk-ons too, of course.
Walk-ons too, yeah.
Yeah.
But so when we were in college, Patty and I would work out every Sunday night together, and then throughout the week we would work out. But we used to play one-on-one full court. Patty, one of our managers, and myself.
You always had a very unfair advantage too, because you don't really drink, and this was like before the season. It was a Sunday night, and I would be so hungover most of the days.
It was great because it would be like Fitz had to score 1 point on me. Patty had to score 3 points on both of us, and I just get like 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like working on just different parts of your game you don't get to work on in practice. And then we would shoot and finish and all that stuff. But I just think like just finding like those GAs and managers to help you out is like the biggest thing. And when you're at that level, because there's only so much you can do like with the coaches and everything when it comes to really perfecting your craft.
Yeah. And the managers at night, so it's they have laundry at night. So it's whoever has laundry is rebounding for me. And then actually one of my boys who just started doing this year, he'll come in there too, just, contest shots or, do dribble handoffs, just do different things that, I can't just do with one person. I need two people, and, maybe he'll guard me a little bit. So that's definitely, I feel like, one thing that's helped me a lot this year.
How many managers do you guys have?
We got 10 managers.
Okay, so Syracuse had like 30.
Yeah, we had 78, I think, officially.
Yeah.
78 managers?
No, that was a lie.
No.
That was an exaggeration.
No,
we probably actually had, between all classes, probably like close to 30.
Yeah, no, we had 30 managers. So, like, they put in the group chat, like, Cole needs a rebounder, and then, like, 6 guys would show up. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It was the best, but, like, sometimes, like, it would be, like, almost too much.
Yeah. So it's a little different because our managers actually get paid. So they're there like the whole time. So whatever we need, they're there from 8 or 9 to whenever we get out of practice, 5 or 6 o'clock, and they go to class and stuff. But they're pretty much on the same schedule we are, and so it's like the freshmen get paid, I think, $300 a month. Then the sophomores get like $600 a month. Juniors get I think $900 a month, and then seniors actually get free housing, and they get like $1,200 a month.
That's
what
great.
The hell?
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
it's actually it's crazy over here.
That's a crazy setup.
Yeah.
No, but it makes sense because, like, when you're rewarding your managers for working hard like that, they're just going to invest 10 times more, and then it just creates a culture of love, joy, and everything that Shaka talks about. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then even the GAs too. The GAs, it's not even like normal GAs is $1,200 stipend a month or whatever. Our GAs are school employees, so they get paid on an hourly basis. So they're in there however many hours, 60,
20
hours
a day.
a week. They're getting paid, a good salary to be a GA. It's crazy.
No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Marquette community, we love it. That leads into my next question. Can you describe for someone who's maybe not from the area or didn't go to Marquette or is just generally not a Marquette basketball fan, what that community is like? Because we figured out like very soon after we had you on the show last time that they're just like as diehard as they get in college basketball, and you could check like Marquette Twitter pages or message boards on like a Tuesday in August, and there's going to be like hoops talk on there, and they're like living and dying with everything that's going on. So can you just try and like contextualize that for someone who might not be familiar with the whole scene?
Yeah, before I came here, I wasn't familiar with it. I wasn't even really familiar with Marquette at all. It was actually funny. When I was getting recruited, I was going to Holy Cross on a visit, and the guy Brett Nelson, who was assistant at Marquette, he was then the head coach at Holy Cross, and he's showing me clips of Marcus Howard at Marquette, and he's like, "This is how I want you to play here at Holy Cross with us." That's just a funny moment that I go back to, but the community is special. I think we've been top 25 in attendance for 20 years running. Wow. And it's not even just that. It's, all the events that we do, there's hundreds of people there. I'm around town in Milwaukee, and people are telling me great game and saying that they're coming to the next game. And, it's because it's not much out here. There's the Brewers, the Bucks, but, we're really the only major college team in Milwaukee. Wisconsin is right there, probably an hour and a half away, but it's a special community because it's not just Milwaukee, it's Illinois too. Northern Illinois, we get a lot of those people. But like you were saying, that the Twitter, the Marquette Twitter is really active. Everybody's active on Instagram, so it's definitely a good community.
And obviously, you have the old timers coming in and coming back to the pro, like Dwayne Wade's at you guys' tournament in Maui. Obviously, Diener is really involved with the program, so it's always great to see that stuff too. I mean, I don't know if there's a picture of you or one of your teammates. Someone hit a 3 and they look, and like D Wade's up, like screaming, yelling, like that. That's so cool.
Yeah, that was in Maui. That was Cam. He hit a 3. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the times they have it at Syracuse, they have it at Duke, they have it at Kentucky. It's like a lot of the teams with the same coaches. The guys are coming back and just working out or at practice or talking to the guys. And I feel like, Marquette hasn't had the same coaches, obviously, but the player community is special and everybody still comes back. So it's been something good to see.
I mean, speaking of that, Jimmy Butler and Jamal Cain got packages from Marquette today with like just straight Marquette gear. Yeah. Like it's just stuff like that makes everybody so close. Like,
what'd Jimmy do with it?
I don't think Jimmy's seen it. It was in his locker though.
He's actually the one guy that hasn't came back, said anything, or hasn't really like supported us at all since Coach Smart's been here.
I would say Jimmy's very locked in on what he's doing in the moment. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And, I mean, it's so funny. Like Jamal obviously grad transferred at Oakland his last year, and he claims Marquette more than anything. Now that you guys are killing it, so shout out to my boy Jamal, man. He's definitely repping Marquette proud with the Heat.
Sure. And now we got 6 or 7 guys in the league. Obviously D Wade's probably our biggest alum, but the basketball side of things is definitely growing, and the community just as they do better, then the community just continues to grow as well.
Yeah, man. Obviously wrapping up here, Tyler. Thank you for coming on, bro. Last question from me. So going into like Big East play, going into obviously hopefully a long tournament run, what is the mindset just to obviously we know the political answer of just staying down, staying focused, but is there anything different from your mindset going into like this last part of the year? Like to make it obviously the best run you can, and then it could be the last stint of your college career. Does that have anything that goes into your mind?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that's really crossed my mind much, even though it's becoming more and more real. This before the year, it's kind of 75-25. I'd love to come back because it's college basketball. The fanfare. Do I want to fight to go to the NBA, or do I want to be one of the faces of college basketball? And that's a tough decision, and it's honestly made it even tougher now because of all the NIL stuff going on. But just trying to enjoy every little thing, enjoying the practices, enjoying the film sessions, enjoying the nights out with not like the nights that on Friday night we got a Christmas party at Coach Smart's house, nights like that, just hanging with the guys, just getting closer, and just enjoying and cherishing all those little moments. I feel like it's something that I've really had on the front of my mind. And even going into all these games, Pfizer Forum, sold out crowd, standing there, they do like this thunderstruck cheer where they go like this right before the game. Just I'm standing in the back of the jump ball and just looking up into the student section, looking around, like just trying to cherish all that, and just knowing that this could be my last year, but so just trying to make the most of it.
For sure, man. It's obviously a great answer. I always think like when you're not focused on you're not putting pressure on the result, you're not putting pressure on your individual performance, and you just love being around these guys every single day, and love being around your coach, and obviously seeing your family at the games and everything like that. It always makes it easier, man. Obviously, Pat, you got anything else for Tyler?
No, I was gonna say we got some very profound answers. That was good shit there. But no, I'm all good. Thanks for joining us again. I think besides Cuse, this pod is giant Marquette fans for the rest of the year. So we're pulling for you.
Marquette crowd on the Swider Show.
Yeah, exactly. But
you
appreciate you
pulled
coming
him in the first time, man. You definitely pulled him in the
big
first time.
time.
So we're planning for a big time episode. But Tyler, thank you again, man. Obviously, great talking to you. Rooting for you for the rest of the season. And yeah, man, whatever you need, I'm here for you, bro.
Definitely appreciate you having me, man.
I'm reckless, I'm dumb, according to you, but you don't know shit, huh? You don't know how I move.